Do you dream about your next trip? You're in the right place. On the Time to Talk Travel podcast, we come to you weekly to share places to go and what to do when you get there. Let's dive into this week's adventure.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Time to Talk Travel. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that is relevant for 2024 travel resolutions, what we are hoping to do differently this year, what we're looking forward to, some goals we have for ourselves, and we're going to jump right into it. Desiree, what travel resolutions for 2024?
You know what? I was thinking, I spent 2023, 2 months in Europe, and I was feeling a little bit of American guilt for not wanting to see as much of my own country. I've been to like 30 of the states, but I haven't really done the national park trips everybody talks about. And I did when COVID hit, I really wanted to do Zion and, Bryce Canyon and that whole area. And I haven't still. I need to always have a trip on the book. So my resolution is to always have a trip on the books. So by New Year's Day, whether it's one small 3-4 day trip every month, or maybe a week long or 2 week long trip every 6 months, whatever. I need that for my sanity. So to always have a trip on the books. That's my resolution.
I like that one.
It's a good one. Maureen, what is your resolution for 2024?
This year, I really wanted to see a little bit more of Texas. We did a lot of those 2-3 day trips more locally. I do want to get back to Canada a little bit more this year, spending time with friends and family, because it does feel after 4 years away that it's been a long time. And then also doing a little bit more of the last minute. I know you guys are all big planners and like to have everything organized well in advance, but I have Galveston right here and I haven't done any of those last minute cruises. So I think my husband and I are both on the same page that we're going to be like, okay, let's go. And we're not going to know exactly where or when we're going, but that we're going to, does it make sense to not know where you want to go, but carving out the time to make sure you go somewhere?
100%.
Doing more date night trips. This year we did a good job of going into Houston for a concert or dinner, exploring our own city. And I think we can take, maybe to 2 nights now and go somewhere a little bit further.
Guys are inspiring me with the last minute. My husband is not so excited about doing things last minute, which is funny because he doesn't like to plan, but he doesn't like to do things last minute. But maybe if we plan to do things last minute, have a resolution that's like the lose weight resolution, travel more, pack less. Every year I make that resolution. Do I pack less? No, but that's always on my list for my travel resolutions every year. Well, I'd love to do more travel with friends. I just feel like with all the work I've been doing, I've written 5 books in the last year and I love my friends dearly, but I have not had time for them. And I would love to just get away with some friends and reconnect and that bonding time and that time just to hang out with my friends in this coming year. So that's a big resolution for me. And so heritage travel. I've done a lot of genealogy research and I have a list of places that I know my family came from that I would love to visit.
How about you, Naz? What about you?
I'm going to go a little bit in the other direction. I did a decent amount of travel in 2023, and a lot of it was business oriented. I instituted and started a new business this year. I had business travel for a past job for sales, and I did bring kiddo along on some of them or combine it and do some fun things, but just so much of it was business focused. My husband was in fire academy over the summer. It was a busy year, a ridiculous year. Normally am a last minute person, like we'll throw things together. I'm a planner, but I'm doing it closer to when we're actually going to go. And so this year I'd like to plan some stuff out more, even day trip. So there's a ton to do around New Hampshire that my kids haven't seen yet and in the Mass area. And I find that when I don't carve out the time or plan to do it later than the morning that we want to do something, we're trying to figure out what we're going to do because we have a free day. And I want to break that habit this year because then no one ends up happy. It takes too long to figure out what we're doing. Then we're figuring out things are closed or whatever. I want to plan a day trip the weekend or two before it needs to happen, or even a month ahead of time. I want to do more overnights in New York and Boston. My son tagged along with me on a trip for a conference that I had to New York. We live right outside of Boston. I'd like to book ahead to get those special deals in advance so that it's not too expensive to do. We've got access to Amtrak to get to New York City. It's super cheap when you buy in advance. So just trying to plan ahead of time so that we can do more. And also, my husband and I didn't really make it away last year on our own just because of everything going on. And we do have older kids and an adult in the house. So we should be able to do that. My parents live 7 minutes away. This year, we've got to do that again. We can't put that off more. So those are kind of the ones that I'm centering around. Also, I don't know if this will fall into 2024. I am hoping to squeeze in a last minute trip this year, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen. Utah is the only state I haven't officially visited. I've only been through the airport there, and I don't count that. So I have to go get to Utah and get out and do something in Utah. And if it doesn't happen in December, then it'll happen next year.
I'll
My
meet
friend
you
has a
there.
gorgeous Airbnb there.
Those are my big ones. So on the topic of solutions and where we're going in 2024 and what we want to do, how are we going to stay on track? How are you going to know you're succeeding? I know for me, it's going to be hard. It's breaking a major habit. I'd love any tip from my planners. How do I plan in advance without being a spontaneous last minute great deal person?
Planning is my favorite part. I love sitting down. I think I could sit with my boyfriend every night, open the computer, go, okay, where do we go next? So I would highly suggest sitting down, schedule a meeting with the kids, the husband, whoever, or do it on your own if you want full control and get the calendar out and say, we're going to plan these now. Okay, these weeks are blocked off because of this school thing or this work conference or whatever. So I know I can't go. For me, there are certain nudges I've been getting. Like I have a free companion pass with Delta from a credit card for a flight. Expires January 31st. I have not booked it and I'm annoyed that every day I'm like, okay, where can we go? And at this point now, it's probably going to just go to waste because I have to fly with the person. I have only so much time I can take off for work. And I said, I want to use it. Yeah, let's go to Utah. I told him, let's go hike. And now I'm like, is this really the ideal time to go do that? No. Well, I don't want to waste it on Orlando because that's a cheap flight for, or easy drive. I think I'm kicking myself because I've had it for a year. I'll get another one. Every year my credit card renews, I get another free flight. I'm going to book that stinking thing. And again, because I'm saying I want to go somewhere every month or make the bigger trips, I want to sit down now and plan that. And you can make them refundable airfare so that if something else pops up and you can't go, you can always cancel. But I just say, get out the calendar now.
Maybe that's something that we all can help each other out with and say, okay, what do you guys got coming up? And if the answer is nothing, then it's time to plan something, right? And sometimes you've got lots of little things coming up, and sometimes you've cleared your calendar of all of that because you have something big coming up that you need to focus on. But I've got tons of fun ladies' friends trips ideas for you, Ciaran. I think that we can help each other out that way and encourage each other. I love that historical and like literary way of doing a trip. I've never really taken that sort of side of it. Everywhere has fun stories, whether it's ghost stories to historic facts and architecture. But I think it's interesting to see travel through different people's eyes and why and how they do it.
I was going to say, I'm working with a life coach for my writing, and it's been really helpful. One of the things that she has really instilled is that when you have a goal and you want to work on something, it's really hard for your brain to focus on more than three things. So you want to give yourself three action items that are working towards your goal. Think of the three most important, biggest things that are steps to get you from here to there. If that's figuring things out, if it's setting up a weekly meeting with the person you're going to travel with, or if it's saying, I'm going to do X amount of research every week, or I'm going to book by a certain date, just pick those three things because then you have something that just keeps you on the path working towards it and something to check off on the list. And you're much more likely to accomplish your goal. It's very simple, but it definitely works for me. The other thing I really want to do this year is I am a California naturalist and I need to book hours in order to keep my certificate. So I want to work towards a goal of keeping my naturalist status.
What is that?
As a California certified naturalist, I get to do certain things, go certain places for free, like whale watching trips and stuff, but I have to act as a naturalist and provide information. And there's volunteer, like I can volunteer at my local state beach doing cleanup or explaining what's in the tide pools to people, but it's something I have to register on a site and put in my hours. And I love doing it. I took all the courses. It gets me outdoors. It gets me talking with people, usually tourists from out of town, and spending time in nature. So it's really nice.
Wonder
Very
if each
cool.
state offers that. I'm in Georgia and it's not too exciting, but I'm considering a move to Florida and I would absolutely do that in Florida. I already know I'm going to be that lady doing turtle rescues every weekend if I get there. I am. I'm going to be the
Turtle
number one
lady.
volunteer.
I could imagine that they have that in Florida too. Like the California naturalist, I could volunteer at the wildlife refuge, and that would fulfill my hours for maintaining my status.
Awesome. So I'm just going to treat it like a project, like project management, businessy, and then I'll be fine. And we will start like a travel watchers little group where we check and see if everybody is doing what they're supposed to do or what they said. So we talk about what our goals were and types of trips and things like that. So specifically, you kick this off with your whole use it or lose it reward. Are there goals that you have specifically about airlines, hotels? You're going to gear towards a certain type. You're going to try and stay in a certain type of hotel. You're going to fly in a certain class. You're going to stop wasting points. You're going to maximize. You're going to maybe never fly an airline again that you.
I'm going to try and maximize that companion pass. Southwest did some sort of promotion where if you booked a flight by this date, you got a companion pass. Somebody can fly for free with you. I'm on a paid flight from January to March. Like there's a time frame to maximize that and to use that. And so that's where I'm looking to. Maybe I go visit one of my college kids with my youngest. Is it taking girlfriend somewhere? Is it going with another couple somewhere so that we're those friendship trips can be with your girlfriends, but also could be with another couple or a couple of couples. We've talked about going to Vegas with a couple of friends, lots of opportunities, but if I miss that time frame, and as Des says, it's catching up with us really rapidly because it's December. So January, February, March, if I don't book that, it's going to be very expensive. If there's a reason to prioritize it, look at it now for sure.
Feel a spreadsheet coming on because I have my founder's card, my priority pass, my Capital One travel card benefit. It may be the right time to look at all of the use it or lose it things that I have going on in my life so that I don't have regrets later.
Could be something like a concert we just booked for this fun middle of nowhere Texas country concert in April for my birthday. My husband, like, I slept in the other day and he had it all planned with our friends, done, dusted, and he never does that. So I was super impressed. But that's because it's two bands that we like both playing at this one festival. Your credit card may give you access to concerts or theater tickets. That may actually guide when and where you go somewhere as well.
Been for me before. I went to New York City just for the big Welcome Home concert they had. It was my birthday weekend, so I said, "This is what I'd really like for my birthday." And we went, and then a hurricane hit, of all things. But that even made it more fun. We didn't see half the bands we wanted to because they had to cancel when the concert was going and lightning struck, and they said, "All right, we gotta shut everything down." So we walked around the streets of New York getting soaked for hours and found a cool bar and stayed there till 4 AM, and it was still fun. We made the most of it, but we've built trips around concerts before.
And part of setting those 2024 resolutions for travel, you guys both just said the companion pass thing and set me off again, is taking the time at the end of 2023, no matter how busy it is, to look at everything and make sure you don't miss out on anything there. I am 14,000 points away from my companion pass. That's not hard to do on Southwest. I have the credit card. I know I'll re-up. I'm not sure how close it'll be. I've got to look, but I can probably find somewhere to go for an overnight quickly and make sure I hit that. If I'm not looking at that, now I lose, the 114,000 or whatever points I have, and I don't get that for next year.
I lost my Hilton Diamond
Yep.
status by
Yep.
3 nights.
My Hilton Diamond, I have that, and that's one of my favorites. It's one of the ones I'm planning to work into the Boston one because there are a couple of really nice hotels there who don't have the extra nightly fee that you have to pay on top of reward redemption. And they're really in the center of everything. I found two that work, but if you look far enough in advance, you can get them for really low point. I love the Diamond status. On my resolution, I'll be the one with a negative one. I'm not booking anything through Priceline ever again. I say that now, I probably will at some point in time when I absolutely have to, but I got in a big scuffle with them because I booked a hotel that was supposed to have a shuttle to LaGuardia Airport. It's the only reason I booked it. When I was looking, I specifically put in LaGuardia Airport shuttle. I only looked at hotels that it said had it. I booked it one that was fairly close. It said it had a shuttle on Priceline. I looked at everything. It was the cheapest. I needed to get there early in the morning. I didn't want to have to worry about safety or getting a ride. Got there. The hotel was super nice. They do not have a shuttle. They do not know why it says that on Priceline. Do not have a shuttle. Ended up having to get an Uber and was really, really frustrated by it. I went through contacting them, and every single time they're like, well, as you see in our terms and conditions, it says that you need to check, anything could change. And I'm like, searched for a hotel with a shuttle to LaGuardia. I have screenshots. I have this, I have that. I went through multiple people. They ended up giving me like a $50 credit back or whatever, which covered the cost of the Uber. But in the long run, it still says that hotel has a shuttle.
I had a similar experience with Hopper where Delta had changed my flight. But they bounce people around these days, and it was leaving the night of instead of the morning after. I had a layover in Boston, I think. Anyways, the bottom line is I no longer needed the hotel because Delta changed it. Because Hopper doesn't talk to Delta. Bottom line is I had to eat the cost of that hotel that night. And man, if I had just booked with Hilton or if I had just used my IHG card, IHG would have redeemed it in credits. I would call them and said, I don't need it now. Instead, I just ate a like $240 room. Those services like Hopper, Priceline, they do have benefits and they do offer great rates and things like that, but you can get burned. I will from now on just book through the IHG card or the Hilton one. I still will use Priceline for certain trips. I love their last minute extra deal or whatever.
I think the frustration for me and the resolution when it boils down to it is things happen. I'm fine with that. I totally accept it. If you tell me that I'm wrong over and over again because I didn't read your tiny terms and conditions that say you can do whatever you want, and if you don't not only make it right for me, but take it down so other people, all I was asking them to do was take it down so other people didn't have the same problem. I want to just see that they are providing customer service to everyone and not leading them astray on purpose. And I think the takeaway for me is if I see a company cannot take feedback and correct an issue that you are pointing out for other people, even if they don't give me a credit, like I'm done. That's my out. There are so many issues these days with people taking advantage. I don't want to see it happen. I can't work with you if I know it's happening. So
I get that. Back on the whole resolution note and setting resolutions, I will say if you're listening and you don't have a credit card that has reward points, definitely look into it. I was one of those people, I don't want a credit card. I don't want blah, blah, blah. And I didn't. And I'm so angry with myself for a decade of paying for $2,000 a month in out of state college tuition that I could have putting on a credit card and then paying back immediately. As long as you're disciplined about paying it back each month, that would have been so many free flights. And I didn't master that until about 5 years ago. Now my trip to Europe, the Delta part of it, that was covered with my Chase Rewards card. I have a Delta Rewards card as well. You get all these extra bonus miles for spending $3,000 on the card and that's easy for me to do because I just pay the bills that I would otherwise be paying. That's a good resolution for someone who doesn't have it.
And see what's out there because I think people aren't always aware of what's out there for credit cards that could benefit them. I know I'll do a little plug here. I stumbled across Bilt, B-I-L-T rewards, and they're actually a credit card geared toward renters. So people where with rent, you don't earn credit like you would with a mortgage towards buying a home. They've set up this system where essentially it gives you some points and rewards towards getting a mortgage later on as a renter. And they're working with different landlords and management companies to set up a way for you to pay your rent on that credit card, because that's a huge expense for people to pay every single month without getting any type of reward for it. And they've set up this system. I know that if I was renting, I'd be looking at it pretty seriously because it's a really cool idea. So that's my plug for that. But yeah, I think you're right. What is something that you didn't do or you started doing, you wish you had done sooner? It should be a resolution for people. Anything other than travel credit cards?
I've said this in other podcasts, the lounges, airport lounges. I had no idea I had access to it through my Delta credit card for years. And it's easy to spend $50 on lunch in an airport, especially if you're getting Prosecco or a beer or whatever with it. And you can easily go in an airport lounge if you have the perk on your card. And you drink for free, you eat for free. And that's a great perk.
And have somewhere to sit and charge your phone and all those things too, especially if you're delayed.
Definitely want to revisit all of the mailing lists and sites that I'm on for travel alerts. So I have travel alerts set for places I want to go. You information coming in it.
Yeah. Cleaning that up and making it a little more streamlined, refocusing, making sure there's still the places you actually want to go. There's a lot. It's easy to jump on some of them that kind of do the clickbaity thing and be like, "Oh, is this going to waste some time on whether it's actually a good deal or not?" So maybe being more conscientious about who you're getting your information from. I think that would be my thing. I've been deleting a lot of emails recently and taking myself off of lists because it's that time of year. It was just Black Friday. Everybody sent me everything. I remembered what I had somehow gotten on and got myself off of it. What else? Anyone else have any other resolution items that we absolutely need to cover?
I read
Camping.
a Far Magazine article this week on the hot places to go for 2024. If
Mm.
you're looking for ideas, because I laughed when sorry, Texas, but I saw it starts with Fiji, Sydney, Morocco, and then Texas. What do you call it? The hills country?
Hill country, you said. Yeah.
Hill country, Texas. I'm like, what is so exciting there? But when I read the article, it's because the eclipse is coming through there
Yes.
this
Going
year.
through Waco. Yeah.
So it's going to be super popular for then. So be looking ahead for things like that because that
Mm.
stuff's probably already booked up.
It's very beautiful on a regular day too, not
Mhm.
just
But on Fiji level, I'm just saying.
not on Fiji level.
I
Everybody
need to
can make it
go,
Fiji either.
obviously.
I'm not going to Fiji this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think if we're touching on places, we can leave some inspiration at the very end. I know for me, I will never not say Sri Lanka as the place that everybody should try to get to if they can. Went there on a press trip years ago with my daughter. It was amazing. So many UNESCO World Heritage sites. It's my go-to answer. It's completely different. There's different areas of the island that do different things. Actually, I went with another writer, Megan, and she has Mommy Travels as a site, and she is actually guiding a trip there next year. And so if you want to be with someone who's been multiple times, who knows where to go, who already has all the guides booked and everything, her pricing was really on point per person, and would highly recommend that as a place to go. Great place to visit.
Speaking of, that is one of my travel resolutions this year is I want to start setting up these trips for girlfriends, or it used to be all media. I actually have a call on Monday with a gal who has been doing this. She's into yoga and meditation, and it's not Nadia, who also does these. All of us love Nadia. This is someone who's not in the blog year who has been setting these up and doing amazing trips. I love the idea of bringing travel to more of my friends who aren't travel writers, aren't in the travel world, but see where I go and go, I would love to do that. I just don't even know where to start. And I'm like, oh, I will plan it all for you. That's my jam. I've wanted to do this for years. That's on my radar this year to get done, to start planning these kinds of things.
I think we do need to share more details of all our trips. We've been a lot of places and we talk a lot about travel, but maybe we can get a little more specific in next year.
Yeah. That's a
As I
good
checked in
ambition
my
for
flight.
us.
I did not check in early enough. This is not good.
Oh, you have a Southwest flight you're checking
I have
in
a
for?
Southwest flight. That needs to be my resolution, is to remember to set an alarm to check in, because now
You're going to be in a middle seat.
no, I'm going to pay the money. I
That
won't.
is a-
I'm not doing that. Not
That's
for
one that
six-
I always
six-
fail.
I will pay to not have a middle seat.
Yeah, I'm always failing on that. Actually, I'm with you, Des. I'm talking to somebody about putting together bookish travel. I would love to lead groups to specific places, both for writers' retreats, because as a writer, I love to write away from home. I find I get some of my best thinking done when I'm not looking at my pile of laundry. And also just to visit places where books are set and where other writers have lived and written is so amazingly inspirational. So bookish travel, leading groups, and just traveling with groups who are also interested in that is really on my radar for this year.
Everybody can share with us
Yeah.
what they would like help in organizing. Because I think there's a lot of other women out there who'd like to organize stuff for them and their friends. It can be daunting and overwhelming to be the one responsible for other people's travel because, like you said, there's always different personalities involved and different ideas of what a good trip looks like. Somebody who wants to be up at 5 a.m. and out checking things out all day. And then there's people who want to sleep in and be up all night and experience the nightlife somewhere else.
like a travel matchmaking website.
Yeah, right.
Swipe if you like to go out until 3 a.m. Oh my goodness. I think that kind of puts our next episodes in line, right? Because we've got to do a planning a girlfriend trip type thing now. How do you find the right people? How do you ask questions? How do you make it so everyone can pay correctly and you're not left holding the bag at the end because someone didn't send their money in or you don't have enough people? Everyone cancels at the last minute. We're working on that next. That's our new one. So I think for 2024, we all have some great resolutions and said that we need to keep on them and keep each other on them. So we will have to update you later on how those are going for us. And also would love to know what resolutions that you have set for travel, what you're hoping to accomplish in 2024. So we will be back next week with another episode of Time to Talk Travel. Thank you so much.
This has been another episode of Time to Talk Travel, brought to you by #travels.com. You can keep in touch with us between episodes by checking out our site, joining our newsletter, or connecting with us on social. We've always got the information you need in our episode notes. Until next time, happy travels, and thanks for being a part of our trip.